Hello everybody, and welcome back to Let's Play Super Paper Mario. And, yeah, Room 56, Flopside Pit of Trials. How's everybody doing? We're great, VerticalSandwich! Okay, awesome. So, very soon, I will have to, I guess, start new LPs. We're moving along as far as that kind of thing goes. Oh, look at that jump sequence! That's awesome! I should get an extra guy for jumping on that many enemies that far in a row. I'm like a jump on enemies master. I'm the black belt at jumping on enemies! I never made it to black belt when I was in martial arts. I was, well, it depends on how you think about it. I was, like, 1 belt away, or 3 belts away from black belt. Because in the system of martial arts I was doing, brown belt had 3 degrees. Although I guess you had tests for each of those degrees, so I suppose it was 3 belts away. I was pretty close to ready to test for the brown belt. I probably could have gotten that with the level of stuff I had going on, but it still would have been another year to black belt. I mean, like, fast tracking, it would have been another year. But it was probably, you know, 3 years or more to get to where I was at. I don't even remember, to tell you the truth. I remember a lot of the basic stuff. I remember some of the more complicated stuff. I remember the philosophy and the meditation more than anything. Like, that's the stuff I use in my daily life. Is kind of the aspects of meditation and, you know, deals like that. Oh, we'll let these guys' shells kill everybody. Yeah. That is, efficiency, I guess. Probably not. Efficiency is not the word. It's letting other people do your dirty work. I don't think that's efficiency. I think that's, cowardice. I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about! I don't know what I'm talking about! Okay. So yeah, so I was in, martial arts for, well, I don't know, I mean, I started when I was a kid, and then, I don't know, I think I eventually quit out of it, and then ended up going back as a teenager. Catching up to where I was and getting a little further ahead. And I don't know, some of it you never lose. Some of it you completely and totally lose. So yeah. So there's that. Alright, we're gonna buy this mystery box and some of this other stuff too. We're gonna buy anything we think might help us. Because we're kind of in trouble as far as items go, so 60 level or 40 levels to get through, and well, 36 levels or whatever. But anyway, all those levels to get through, and we're down to like 3 healing things. So, and we came in with like 8, so we've gone through 5. So that's why it's trouble. I think we can make it. So yeah, and I mean, like, you know, martial arts was not, it was a good thing for me. I mean, as a kid, it was good for me. Straightened my act out a little. But then, I mean, I ended up, you know, going bad later anyway, so it wasn't, you know, it didn't perfectly straighten me out. It didn't turn me into a nice little military kid or something. Nice little military kid. I don't know that, like, kids with military discipline have it any easier than kids who are, I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna say about kids and their discipline. I mean, I've never raised a kid. I don't know. It's weird with, like, my niece. She has a kid that's almost 2. And I always tell her, like, when she's worried about being a bad mom or whatever, I'm just like, your kid's healthy and your kid's happy. Like, what more can you do, really? But I think it's a little easier before they start talking. Like, before they start having opinions and want to do stuff, and you have to start telling them no. Maybe not, though. I mean, I could be way off on that. Again, I don't I don't know anything about what I'm trying to talk about, really. Again, I've never raised a kid. I haven't really spent a lot of time around little kids. I mean, when my nieces were growing up, they're like 5 years and like 10 years younger than me. Like, I was a kid, you know? Like, it was like having like little sisters. It wasn't, you know, it wasn't like having nieces. It wasn't like, I mean, they looked up to me maybe because I was the bigger kid. So, you know, my niece is, because, like, neither of my siblings, well, my sister had 2 daughters, and, like, they're adults now. And my brother never had kids. And I'm so much younger than them, and I've never had kids, so, like, my niece's daughter is, like, the first baby in the family in a long time. We're way out of practice. We're just like, we haven't seen a baby in 20 years. She's cute, though. Little goofy-looking blonde girl. And I don't mean goofy-looking like, you know, she's got like a crazy wandering eye or something. I mean, no offense to people with wandering eyes. But, you know, she's cute. And she acts really, you know, she acts really strange. Like, she's at that point where she's figuring things out. And so, like, I watched her over Thanksgiving, like, we set up a table for her with, like, a tea set on it and stuff, and put some water and some, like, the tea set things. And at one point, she was, like, drinking the water out of her cup, and then she decided she didn't want it, and she knew she should pour it back into, like, the teapot, so she turned them both sideways, and, like, all the water poured out of them, and, like, she was good. She had it right up until that last move. You know, like, you could see things working in her head, you know, she was right on until it came time to actually do it, and then her technique was all wrong. Oh well. So yeah, I don't know, I mean, I gotta say it's a little weird being like grandma's brother. It's a little strange. I'm 32. Wait, am I 32? Ugh, I have so much trouble with my age. Yeah, I'm 32. Yeah, I turned 32 this just like 2 months ago. Ugh. Whatever. That's weird. Isn't that strange? Is it strange that a human being can forget their own age? Although I remember reading this, like, this write-up about this Buddhist monk. Like, somebody had taken a photograph and had won this prize, and it was of these feet impressions in the floor. And they'd been made because this monk had been praying at the same spot, like, every day for 70 years. And they talked to the monk. And one of the things was that he thinks he was like a certain age. He's just like, I think I'm 78. Because obviously he can't remember the first couple years of his life. I mean, who remembers that? And if his whole life has been like in the monastery, like, yeah, I guess you probably wouldn't know, like, for sure how old you are. You could maybe, like, at some point, if you wanted to figure it out, you could, like, think about how many different winters you remember or something like that. But that would get you, you know, within 4 years. 5 years is the real number, but geez, I couldn't do that. If you took that knowledge out of my head, you took the knowledge of how old I was, like what year I was born in, out of my head, I couldn't figure it out. Like, I couldn't, you know. I mean, without the, like, without the numbers on the years and stuff, I would have no idea. And I guess it wouldn't matter. I mean, like, you think about it, and, you know, our culture puts a lot of emphasis on that, about, like, you know, somehow 2011 is different than 2009 is different than, but, like, that's not necessary. You know, really, 2011 and 2009 are just part of the same package. You know, one day just rolls into the next. And if you didn't, you know, if we didn't have a way to arbitrarily name those things different things, you'd just be like, you know. So yeah, I don't know, I mean, you don't, it's weird to think about that kind of that way. It's like, about all the things that seem, because they seem, it really does, we do that, so it's so about what we are as a culture, I guess. And I don't mean Americans or anything. I mean like a modern technological, you know, like the world today kind of culture. That it's hard to think about it. It's hard to imagine like a people or like a world where those things aren't important. But they don't have to. But don't get me wrong, I mean, like, you know, even, you know, our best information, which sometimes is not the greatest thing in the world, but our best information, you know, seems to indicate that, you know, measuring time is something that humans inherently do. Even if it's just, you know, seasonal stuff. I mean, well, I guess once you become agricultural, you have to measure time on some level. To know when to plant, to know, you know. Ugh, I became all I went all anthropologist on this LP commentary. Oh well. We get a WOT card! Yay! I really had no idea, like, when the first time I played this, I'd watched, like, Aluka Jin's Paper Mario LP up to she hadn't even gotten a WOT. So I had no idea what was going on. I was just like, who the hell is WOT? Okay, we gotta get this guy behind. We gotta get this guy from behind. Whoa, 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 whoa. So you almost gotta be Mario for this. There we go. And apparently it wasn't him. So now I gotta go beat up on his friend. And this one's like, this is shockingly, you know, this can be really complicated because these guys, you know, obviously we can't use 3D to get around him because we'll fall. But there we go, we got it. So, it wasn't as complicated as I made it sound. Alright. So what were we talking about? Time, the measurement of time, passing of time, societies, and agriculture? I don't know. I really don't know. It's funny, because, like, in the context of an anthropology class, that's just conversation. But when you say it over a video game LP, it becomes really weird. You're like, seriously, by talking to people about, like, the development of agriculture and things like that. Anyway. So. And I'm not usually like that. I'm really not. I don't spend a lot of time talking, you know, essentially technical jargon. Because it is. I mean, like, there's a language for archaeology with things like fluted points and Paleo Indians and things like that. But, yeah. Yeah, and rocker stamping and trying to think of other other archaeology code words. Yeah, shell-tempered pottery and things like that. You know, it's funny, actually, when I became an archaeologist, I had no idea what, like, any of that stuff was, and I took a higher level archaeology class because it was required for my degree. And they just started talking about, like, fluted points, and I was like, what the hell is a fluted point? And, like, B, like, why do I care? And it took a while to sort it all out, you know? I mean, it was like reading stereo instructions for 120 pages, till finally it kind of clicked, and I was like, oh, fluting, I got it. Like, now I've... Like... People. Jeez. Anyway. So, now that I've blah 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 about the job I did for 3 years. And I've gotta say, like, I mean, having trained in that and, like, you know, knowing it the way I know it, which is better than most ordinary people, probably not as good as most archaeologists. I'm not claiming to be a great archaeologist. But I do, I would say I know, you know, I know as much as somebody who's been trained in it, I guess. Somebody who's been trained in it but hasn't made it their whole life, I guess. That's fair. I don't remember what I was gonna say. Oh, I do enjoy it. That's what I was gonna say. I miss it sometimes. I might end up going back to it here, depending on how things turn out. And maybe the only job option I really have right now. Well, I mean that or, you know, doing something for $6 an hour. You know, which I really couldn't. Knowing I could get a job for twice that, I have a hard time imagining that I'd be okay with doing that when I could be on the road. And I don't mind being on the road. That's the other thing. I really don't. I don't know. But I don't want to do it for the rest of my life. But whatever. I mean, you know, it's not a series of decisions that I make right now, so I'm not so worried about it. So Thoreau can really be handy for stuff like this. And obviously that berry bad we just killed, that was the only way we were gonna do that. There's only really 2 ways to kill them, and that's like you've gotta make them defenseless so you can jump on top of them, which Thoreau is good for that. Or you could use something like a shooting star or a thunder rage to do damage to them through their shield. Those are your only options, really. Alright. We can't get up there that way. I'm just gonna go all the way around. I hate going all the way around. Yeah, that does it. Okay. What level is this? 75. Okay, you know what? We're gonna finish this, and then the next video will be the run all the way to the end. We could have timed that better. There we go. Now the little one will move so fast that he'll push that big one around. There we go. Now we've got pure madness. So easy. Look at that. And we got our key. So alright, so that'll be it, and bye everybody.